Raise your hand. You can't take it anymore. You're about to lose your mind. You feel like you're in a part of a parallel universe somewhere else, and nothing makes sense to you anymore. Nothing. You expect somebody to come in and say, okay, look, this is a joke. This is a joke. The joke's on you. No, she's not running. Kamala Harris is not running. She's not running. It's a joke. It's a joke. We just wanted to see whether you would put up with this stuff. We're kidding. We're kidding. What are you talking about? It's a joke. Of course she's not going to be there now. Of course it's not. It was all to fool you. It was just to make you, it was just a joke. Come on, you were taking this thing too seriously. Relax. It was a joke. You didn't expect it. You didn't think she really was going to run, didn't you? You really believe that? It was a joke. We were kidding. Didn't we let you on that the hints? She didn't know anything. She couldn't answer. Don't you wish somebody would tell you that? You see, this is a joke. What's going on? I saw a picture of a friend of mine, known her forever. We used to think absolutely 100%. I don't know what it was. It was I guess maybe things were just kind of different then, but we were, I guess you would say, Democrats. I don't even know what any issue was that really, things that made sense, civil rights and women's rights. Okay, And now, I saw a picture of her. She's holding up a sign that says, Harris Walls. And he goes, yes. And I'm thinking, what are you kidding me? Are you kidding? Now look, we have to go through this. This is insanity. And let me tell you something. If you're not in it for the long haul, get out. Get out. You hear what I'm saying? Get out. And the reason why you should get out is because it's going to get weirder and stranger. I'm telling you right now. Let me start off with something. See if you know who this is. See if this feller, if you know who he is.
That bizarre. That's all I can say. What is wrong with that picture? A lot.
Were there urinals?
Who is that?
Any women sitting in urinals?
I didn't look. I kind of went, kind of had a little tunnel vision in there.
What has happened to our world?
It's upside down.
Who is it?
Now, this is the battle we're in. It's a spiritual battle of evil and good and nonsensical and the common sense. We have all this. It's like a teeter-totter, but we're winning. I really believe we're winning.
Who is that? Who is it? Tell you who it is. Who is it? My Pillow. That's right, Norma. It's Mike Lindell. And he shaved his mustache to go in, and he's undercover. And he keeps saying this is a fight of good against evil. And I have been a follower of hers, and he has supported us. MyPillow.com, promo code Lionel. This guy is like, do you think he's kidding around with this? He's probably, most people would say, Mike, what are you doing? Sell your pillows, sell your towels, sell your slippers, and go home. What are you doing? Why are you doing this? Because he believes in it. He really does. MyPillow.com, promo code Lionel. Spend 5 seconds looking at what's available, and your eyes will literally bug out of your head. Literally. You hear what I'm saying? MyPillow.com. Promo code Lionel. Only promo code Lionel. And you get a free gift. Do it. Support him. Now, where do I start? Tonight is it. Good news. Tonight is the end. You know what happens tomorrow? They forget the whole thing. It's like it never happened. May I suggest something tonight? You ready for this? Listen to me carefully. Don't watch tonight. For your own good. Get some highlights tomorrow. Spend some time. Watch some old Dragnet. Watch a little something. Watch some address. What am I trying to say? Some arrest videos. Do anything. Don't watch this. Don't. Seriously. Why are you going to watch it? Did you hear the latest controversy about Nancy Pelosi? Did you hear this? Did you hear this? By the way, don't watch it. You really, seriously, I don't know what do, bro. Literally, I'll tell you what you need to know. Do you really need to? Do you really need to? You have to maintain your sanity. You have to maintain it, and it's tough. It's really tough. But we're not even done yet, bro. Literally, or bruh. That's bruh. Excuse me. 75 days. 75 days. So, what have they told you? Nothing. Who was it? Klobuchar says, and here's a man who has a video on how to change a headline. Okay. I'm not going to watch this. I'll let you have fun with this. And do me a favor. Stop telling me that Trump's got to he's got to get over the issues. He's got to stick with the issues. Shut up. Let the man do what he wants. Watch that convention. Did they talk about the issues? No, they talked about him, 350 times? It's ridiculous. Get a hold of Gavin Newsom and Brett Baer. I saw, oh my God, this guy que come mierda, this, as we would say in West Tampa. Oh my God. Unabashed. They are in La La Land and they're happy. So you know what? We're going to live in La La Land. And President Trump, you do whatever you want. Say whatever you want. But imagine, I don't care. Make fun of their face or their blood or whatever. What difference does it make? Bruh. Literally. Do you think it makes one? Do you think there's one person out there saying, now I understand? Oh, wait a minute. So you're saying that if there's no borders, then bad people come to. Come on, man. Come on, man. We know that. Mr. President, say whatever you want. Say whatever you want. Does it really matter? I don't know. We'll see. Because you know what I'm saying. And I'm sorry to say this again. I'm sorry to say this again. And I'm sorry to say this again. And I know you don't want me to say it again, but I'm going to say it again. It depends where the ballots are going. Did you see what the Supreme Court said? They said, "Hey, guess what? Good news. You in Arizona, in Arizona, I believe, you can limit your local and your statewide elections to citizens only." Okay, great. And if you spend some time, technically speaking, non-citizens are not allowed to vote. If you go through, I mean, what? What? And I'm going to say this one more time. I'm going to say this one more time. I'm going to say this one more time. If an absentee ballot goes to 123 Main Street and somebody grabs it or grabs all of them, steals them, harvests them, keeps them, intercepts them, whatever, and he writes in Trump or Harris and sends it in, what do they do with that? Do they hold it up and say, wait a minute, how do we know this is right? They count it. It comes in, they count it. They will have figured out that, well, whatever vetting process was done prior to this, I'm just going to count them. So I'm going to say this one more time. I'm going to send all my ballots to, or I'm going to find out that somehow, I don't know how, but I'm going to send a whole bunch of these to this apartment. Or I'm going to have my friend at the post office look for him. And when they come in, he just kind of, I find out, oh, you don't think that can happen? No, that can't happen. I know my brother-in-law, Jerome, do me a favor. Give me the money. Okay. He's in charge of, can you imagine a guy, I told you, we have Radio City Station. That's our big 52nd Street. That's the world famous, Radio City Station. There it is. the post office. And if somebody back there knows what they look like and they're dropped off to be mailed, they're dropped off. They're dropped off. You know how it is. Hey, would you mail these? Sure. You bring them in big boxes. They don't go and just dump them in. They take them to the post. Take all those. They never see them. You never see them. But I fill them out and I send them in. You don't think that's possible? I mean, I've been talking. So I'm not going to bring this up again because it's so obvious. It's so obvious, but it's something that we've got to consider. Our good friend Christian Delorme's of Vinyl Revival says, bruh, dude, literally, sir, you are a riot. You must be a great litigator. Love from Canada. Love you as well, sir. Thank you. Litigation is great only if the facts are great. Kevin says, what's the over-under on Kamala cackling tonight? Oh, none at all. None at all. She'll smile. She'll do a lot of smiles, but no. But here's the most important thing. Here's the most important thing. You see that thing that fell out of Nancy Pelosi's shorts? Did you see that? Did you see the story? How many of you heard about this? Bruh, literally. Did you see this? How many of you heard this? Did you hear this? Did you hear it? I don't know what it was. A pad, a note, toilet paper. What was this? Did you see it? You think I'm kidding? Did you see it? Did you see it? Who saw it? Cocaine. Cocaína, perico. Come on, you didn't see it? What do you mean you didn't see it? What? Come on. Not a tampon, come on, or a puntan. Come on. Do you see it? Okay. Look at this. Tell me what you see. Tell me what this is to you. Be honest, okay? Now watch carefully. This is the Zapruder film. And please, bro, literally, don't try this at home. What? There it is. There's it. See it? There it is. What? Look, there it is. What is it? All of it. Wait a minute. Let's zoom in. Wait a minute. Look. What's that? It's a note. It's a hostage note. What was that all about? Now they were saying, oh, it's a note she had. It was a little note. No. Dust in a baggie. Oh, I love that. Billy Strings. Very good. Fitzy. Very good. Billy Strings. Great. He and Molly Tuttle, two of the best today. Dust in a baggie. Ding, ding, ding. I would have walked out. Me. Toilet paper on my shoe. I would have walked out and I would say, what? What? What do you do? What? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? This is the most beautiful thing in the world. Now, couple of things here, and I want you to relax. Do I have your promise tonight? You will not watch any of that. You do know that. If you're watching any of that, I mean, why? Why? And they said, well, they're getting more coverage than the Republicans. Really? I don't blame them. I thought the Republican convention was horrible. Sorry. President Clinton last night says, I just turned 78 and I'm still younger than Donald Trump. That's telling him, Slick Willie, you've aged like milk. He is so full of it. He walks around with his mouth open. Have you seen him lately? Did you ever see those pictures of him at that bookstore in the Hamptons? Come on, stop it. And don't give me any stuff about, well, Dusty Saddles and Stormy Daniels. What about him? What about him and the Monica Lewinsky with the cigar right there in the white? Come on. This guy, how they came after Trump over there. And between you and me, he says he never did that with Stormy. I'm sorry. I never believed that, but that's me. Does it really matter? I don't know. Have you noticed how people are saying that because the Shroud of Turin is aged to be roughly at the age or during the time that would have corresponded to the life of Jesus, that's Jesus's I don't want to dispute anything, because I thought the Shroud of Turin, when I was in a Catholic school, I remember reading this. It was called The Doctor at Calvary. I'll never forget that, reading the book about how Christ died on the cross and how he died of asphyxiation. And this is all part of my Catholic. This is part of the 60s Catholic education. How they oftentimes would break the leg so that you couldn't push off to get lungs into, because you would just sink and you couldn't exhale. And that's really what got you. And the nails were here in the wrist and not in the hand. It was in the wrist, and you would move one foot over the other this is. And I remember the time being fascinated by that. And the Shroud of Turin, I thought, wow, that was an incredible story. But does that prove it's Jesus? No. I mean, logically, I'm just saying, just because it's 2,000 years old, okay. But that doesn't mean that's good. If it had been, 1,000 years old or 3,000, maybe. Yeah, I understand that. But remember, critical thinking in order to prove something. What have you proved? What have you proved? I don't know. Doesn't mean there's no God. I get into these arguments with friends. What are you talking about? I say, no. I'm just saying that's step one. That's good. But that doesn't mean it's Jesus. What do you mean it doesn't mean? It doesn't mean it. Well, what else could it be? What else could it be? Well, people have such a hard time with the notion of proving something. Proving something. They don't know how to take data and how to prove it. I don't want to get into that. Don't get me wrong. We're going to get to something. Did you see this piece today? This made me so sad today. Well, that made me sad, but this makes me, I'm having a real, I'm coming around the bend, as Carly Simon would intone.
Those tough new sentences on illegal alien criminals. These include 10-year mandatory minimum sentence for anyone guilty of human smuggling.
Okay.
A guaranteed life sentence for anyone guilty of child trafficking.
Okay.
And a death penalty for anyone guilty of child or woman sex trafficking. We'll also impose the death penalty on major drug dealers and traffickers. In other countries, on their immigration papers, there is a statement that says, death for drug traffickers. Big letters, big bold letters. 10 times the size of everything else on the page. I saw it this morning. And those are the countries where they have no problem with drugs. Many of them, actually. We will also impose the death penalty for anyone killing our police, sheriffs, border patrol, ICE, or law enforcement officials. The death penalty with a quicker trial, not a trial that lasts for 15 years and everybody gets exhausted. We will liberate our country from the illegal alien drug dealers, robbers, murderers, gang members, and child predators. And we will make America safe again for our citizens and make it greater, stronger, better, more beautiful than ever before. And I want to thank you all, and especially our 4 very special people.
I want to get to that in a moment. I'm going to tell you what I'm thinking about this, very frankly. Years ago, I had a wonderful friend of mine. He was a law professor, and he was a great pal of mine. And he's since passed, as they say. Did he die? No, he passed. Passed what? Passed. Literally, bro. Literally. And he, one time, this was years ago, and I think, he was telling this story. He said, he was a Southern guy, and he said, he was very eloquent. He said, years ago, they broke into my car and took my radio. Remember that? You probably don't know this, but in New York, in cars, they said no radio. Remember that, honey? No radio. It was a sign. No soap radio. This is no radio. The big signs inside the car. It was so sad. I don't have a radio. I hope these people can read this. Oh, yeah. How do you know? Anyway. So he said, I got an idea. He said, let me ask you something. He said, hear me out. He said, what if we took people who broke into cars and took radio, and we took them out and gave them a trial, And then upon sentencing, took him to the courthouse, on the lawn and set him on fire, which was this inspiration for this old radio character I did years ago called Lud. And when I was a caller, I would always be this voice like this old man. His name was Lud. And he always wanted to take these people and take them outside and set them on fire. And anyway, it was a bit of a joke. But he said, now hear me out. He said, what happens is we say now, come January 1st, if you're caught stealing a radio, we're going to set you on fire. Now, if you don't want to do that, if you want to protest it, the best thing you can do here is just don't go do it. Don't. You can make the law obsolete by not stealing radio. What do you think about that? And I thought, I mean, you don't have to steal a radio. It's not like you. Oops! I didn't mean to steal a radio. Yeah, you did. So I've always thought that the problem we've had with the death penalty has always been the fact that a lot of poor people, sometimes black, sometimes poor, sometimes indigent, don't get the best of cases. And it's not that they're not guilty, but they don't avail themselves of the same type of defense that white folks may have. And maybe because there's this, remember, in the capital case, you have the guilt phase, and then you have the sentencing phase. And then the sentencing phase, you basically set them on fire in case you don't like them. And if you're some Willie Horton looking dude, they're going to, they could do it. So I thought for years, this is just, I'm against it. I think that life in prison would make sense. And that, because you can't appeal a death sentence. You can't appeal an execution is what I'm saying. After you execute somebody, you're just, okay. So what does that mean? Well, I think it's time for us, because right now, did you see on the DNC actual ballot, or excuse me, on the what am I trying to say? What do you call it? Not the platform. They have repealed or are silent as of the abolition of the death penalty. They're not saying it anymore. The Democrats, they're saying maybe. What? So I think it's time. I think personally, I have come around, not because I think that the wrong people might get it, that resources are, no. I think we are at such a level where crime is so virulent, it's so awful, it's so terrible, that in order to get people's attention, the death penalty is more than worthy. Edie Crowley says, remember the TV ads about not leaving keys in cars. Indeed I do. Now I want you to watch this one lady right here. This is so sad. I can't imagine this. Watch President Trump.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for
Take care of
inviting me.
yourself. Absolutely. We don't want it to happen to other people. That's all.
No.
Listen to that. We don't want it to happen to other people.
Yeah. Hi. I was just thanking President Trump for the invitation to come and to share Rachel's story. Rachel was 37 years old. She had 5 children. She worked. She owned a small business. She worked very hard to support her family. And the trail that Rachel ran daily was a trail that we as a family would walk over the last 25 years that we've lived in Maryland. It's a very safe, small trail, very public, very open. Moms with baby carriages go down this trail. It's very safe. I was in Kentucky. We had a grandbaby that had passed away. When I got a phone call from my son, and he said, Mom, there's somebody here that would like to speak to you. And when I said hello, the person on the other end said, hello, Mrs. Morin. This is Detective so-and-so. I'm the lead detective on this case. There's no easy way to tell you this, but we found your daughter's body. And if they find the body, you know that she's dead. But they wouldn't say, we found Rachel, she's alive. And so they found my daughter's body. And when they found it, it just recently has come out that she was brutally beaten, raped, and then stuffed into a drain pipe. We're 18,000 miles, 1,800 miles from the border. And because of this open border, we've had not just my daughter, but we've actually had two in the same county that we're from, where illegal immigrants have.
I don't want. This is long and it's tragic. But how much more of this do you think we have to put up with? Christian says, I've been listening for years. Your best impression I heard was Central Florida morphidites. That's right. Well, thank you for that. This kills me. Gracie Loves George says, baby farms made me change my mind about the death penalty. Yeah. Crypto Domini says, I cried, Uncle Lenny. It's incredible. And I don't know what anybody needs anymore. And I don't know if it's best for President Trump to say that we need to do this for us. Does he bring up the Democrats? Should he say it by saying, and these sick bastards want to, I don't know. I just think the best thing to do is to tell the American people, however you want to say it, that this has got to stop. And you don't even have to bring up Kamala. You don't have to mention her name. You don't have to say anything about her anymore. You don't. You don't have to say it. You just say it. There's nothing sometimes more beautiful than saying that's not right. And you fill in the blanks. You fill in the blanks. Well, are you saying that the Democrats don't do this? Are you saying that if we were to vote for Kamala and the guy who can fit? I'm not saying it. You could do the math. Rule number 1, listen to Uncle Lenny. Number 1, there's no magic way. We had lunch here today with a great friend of ours who says, I think that Trump's going to lose because he's not saying things. You know what? Screw that. He's not going to lose because of that. Nobody's going to say, you know what? I was going to vote for him, but doggone it, he makes it so personal. I mean, he's got great ideas, and he's right about the Democrats, and he's right about his tax plan, and right about crime, and right about the borders, and right about, but he's so mean. So I'm going to vote for somebody I disagree with who isn't mean. Forget it. Stop saying this. Say it however you want. At this point, whatever, we've already made that point. We've already argued. But you might as well remind folks of this reality, which the Democrats find most inconvenient. Let me try it again.
Ago, Vice President Kamala Harris was given an important job: control the border crisis. Did she step up to the plate?
How about the message from our vice president? Where is she? She was supposed to be in charge of all of these migration issues.
Take the job seriously?
Do you plan to visit the border? Not today.
Did Kamala do anything to fix the border crisis?
Nope.
Over 7 million illegals entered, more terrorists,
7
more criminals,
million.
and millions more got away. Are Americans safer?
A string of high-profile crimes allegedly committed by illegal immigrants.
Charged with raping a 15-year-old disabled girl.
Charged with the rape and murder of a mother of 5.
Killing Houston's 12-year-old Jocelyn Nungary, 22-year-old Georgia nursing student Laken Riley, and 21-year-old upstate New York woman Jocelyn Toakiza.
Rather than asking for a promotion, Kamala Harris should start by saying their names.
There you go. Didn't that sound good? Now, does that work? I don't know. I don't care. Should he not say that? I don't care. At this point, it doesn't matter. See, I would get some people in my committee. I would be very, very very, very, very just brutal. I would love, there's these people here. One of them is Polk County. Now, Polk County is Central Florida. See, on your way to Orlando, you go right through Polk County, Lakeland, and all that, Bartow, and all that. Take I-4 and you go east, and you go right out there. And Grady Judd or sheriff, the high sheriff, Grady Judd, and he does the best press conferences, and people love this Law and Order. We love Buford Pusser. We love. My mother and I used to watch Death Wish. This is great, mother and son. Loved it. Getting back. There's something about this which I love. One of my favorite, and I love simple messages. You don't understand. I just love simple. I mean, and years ago, and I had this, remember when we had refrigerators? Now they're stainless steel, and the magnets don't stick. They're not stainless steel, they're aluminum. What am I saying? The magnets don't stick. And remember, you always have stuff on the refrigerator, prescriptions and what to do, and they had little magnets. And anyway, I had for years this thing I cut out. It was so great, and it was from the Everglades, and Lake Okeechobee. This is real South Florida. Real. I mean, this is like Okeechobee. This is, swamps and Everglades. And oh my God, it's a whole nother world. It's anyway. And there was a pup tent or some kind of a lean-to pup tent with this sign in this kind of there's a name for it. You know that hee-haw sign signature stuff? Remember that the words are kind of inverted, and it said in this childish, this uneducated scrawl, it said, "You better really want to come in here." And I thought that said it great. You better really want to come in here. There's something about just this thing that people respond to. It's this sense of fear, primordial fear. I love these dogs. There's these wonderful dogs. I again, part of my love of documentaries, I don't really want, but if ever I had this huge property, I would get like these they call them cane corsos, but the cane corsos, or these these wolf hounds. And these take down wolves, and they wear the collars with the spikes. But there's this one, I think it's a cane corso. I don't know which one. Anyway, but he loves to go out at night, and you don't want to doesn't want to stay inside. He wants to go outside. He's an outside dog, loves it, and loves the perimeter. And he loves to say, "Oh, is this ours? Yeah, okay." And he knows who you are, and you're the boss. But he walks around and does this, makes this noise. It's not a bark. It's more like, this is mine. I love that. And that's what I believe we need to know. This is mine. And I want to scare the living out of somebody who comes to our country, somebody from Tren de Aragua, from Venezuela. And I want to make an example out of them. You see, my friends, sometimes we use this word called fascism. And fascism is not what you think. Fascism is not one of these words. It's a word that's misunderstood. And fascism, the classic prototypical political fascism, is almost it's a combination of, it's a melding almost of corporatocracy and state. It's just, and granted, it's got a bad ring to it. And there were some people who are bad, but there's something about the brutality of it. Would you call, for example, China fascism? That's communism. And technically speaking, the two have nothing to do. But I'll never forget. And if I've told you this forgive me. Forgive me. I want to tell you the story. Friend of mine, he's a great guy, very conservative, military, just absolutely, really seriously, no bleeding heart. And he lived in China for a while. I think he was dating somebody there. And he went there, lived there. And he couldn't believe it. In every little neighborhood, in every little, whatever this sector was, they had these signs. And apparently being a police sergeant or whatever the rank was a pretty good gig. And you had to earn it. And they had these signs that say, my name is, Lieutenant so-and-so or whatever. Here's my cell number, my mobile number. If you ever need me, you call me. If you see something, call me. This is my area. And this is my name with this picture. Call me 24 hours. Let me know. I loved it. Crypto says, Kirk Douglas, 2018, bone tomahawk. Trump goes in, steer the troglodyte Dems. You know what's funny? Bone tomahawk. I love the idea of a war club. Oh, have you seen those? There used to be, it's a classic battle axe. It's something that was used, which I think is the most important thing. It doesn't look like much. It's like a shillelagh kind of, but it just crushes you, crushes skulls. It's brutal. And there was a common law. There was in fact, Scalia mentioned this, called a frighting. And this is even with the Second Amendment. They said sometimes there are certain weapons that can be so problematic that we as a society disapprove of them. So yeah, the drafters of the Constitution spoke to that. Dominic Versetto said, "Que mala. No puede ser peor." From Occupy Chicago. Thank you, my friend. Let me see. I like to do let me see this. Just a second here. There's a fellow. Oh, sorry. Look at this. Nelson says, Beyonce Taylor, Swift, Pink, the Chicks at the DNC tonight. Clueless. Bunch of pinheads. They all live with high wall security and with tons of money we can't even touch. Yep. Oh, Beyonce, Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift isn't a part of this, right? Yeah. Yeah, Beyonce. You know what? Well, Beyonce owes them because they're owned like Oprah. Owned. You don't think that they've got the goods on Jay-Z? You don't think they have all the information from Diddy or didn't he? You know that, right? They got all the information. They got everything. They got it all. They like Bogey and Bacall. Oh yeah. So let's see what happens. But I'm not going to be watching them. I don't care. But there's something about this. And we're going to need to do. Oh, by the way, one more thing about this Chinese. My friend was also asked one time. They said, "What would happen if somebody, God forbid, were to kill or sexually assault your daughter? What would happen? Would they be executed?" And he said, "Probably not." He said, "In China, they would." I know 2 or 3 people. One, we know more Chinese people who actually live from there, Hong Kong, the whole bit. And they all say everybody retires early. None of them are in any kind of prison camps. They keep their mouth shut. They do not have the same kind of liberty. That's true. You can't, that's true. But as far as crime, no. Remember one time there was a woman who, I think this milk was poisoned. And then there was somebody who was a bank fraud. They executed her. Now, let me explain something to you, and let me see if I can put this into perspective. Sometimes there are things that mathematically don't make sense, but they do make sense. For example, I have thought all my life that you should never hit a kid. Never, as a parent, never. However, I'm sure there are some kids that the only way to get their attention is to do it, and not to hurt them, but just to go through the spanking, the ritual, the humiliation, whatever it is. Now, I don't know who those kids are. I don't know how you can tell one from the other. I think you should always err on the side of not doing it, but I do believe there are some kids who do this. There are. I do believe, and I told you sometime, I told you this years ago, and I want you to listen to me. I told you I've always loved and been fascinated by serial killers. And the reason why is simply this. It's not what you think. I don't like these people. Of course, there's nothing about them. They're not interesting. Why do they do it? There are prisons with people who are the worst. None of them are serial killers. None, except maybe one. Why you? Bernard Giles. Best thing that Piers Morgan ever did. I got it when he said, Mr. Morgan, do you enjoy something that you really love to do, that gives you excitement, that you love to do? And this guy was so, he looked like I came alive. I could see the atoms vibrate. I understood what he was saying. Raoul says it's time to adopt the Chinese method on crime. Well, it's time. It's just. I want to tell people, you better really want to come in here, because when you come in here, and I know the Constitution says persons. The Constitution prohibits cruel and unusual punishment for persons. It doesn't say citizens, it says persons. Okay, so sue me. I always ask, do unto others. I always have this rule. Every now and then somebody would say, a couple, let's say. And let's say somebody says, I got a call the other day from, let's say hypothetically, I got a call the other day from somebody I used to date or an ex, whatever it is. And he was in town and wanted to know if I wanted to have lunch. What do you think about that? And that's the question. Assuming. My response is very simple. Well, let me ask you something. What if your husband did that? How would you feel? If you could say, great, that's okay, then fine. But if you think differently, that's a different story. So sometimes you got to put yourself in the perspective of, well, how would you feel? And how would you feel if something like that happened to you? And how would you feel if your government didn't show any kind of anger towards somebody destroying something that you loved? How would you feel about you and your family if your beloved daughter was desecrated, absolutely desecrated, just shattered, your life, your dreams, everything completely destroyed? How would you feel about that? And your government doesn't do a thing about it. How would you feel about these people? How does that work? Now, that might be a great way to kind of vote for somebody or to put this out, but what would you feel like if somebody did that? And I came along and said, oh, well, what are you going to do? As opposed to, when you do that, when they do that to your daughter, they do that to us. Do unto others, baby. You know what I mean? It's John 3:16. Well, that's not really John 3:16, but it's one of them. So anyway, so here's what's going to go on. Trump continues what he's doing. After tonight, they're going to do this thing, and tomorrow, I am telling you, I'm going to write this thing now. It's going to be the most incredible. You're going to see people cry. They're called moirologists, the actual professional mourners. You're going to see all of the shots. Did you see Timmy's son, Tampon Timmy's son? Bless his heart, he loved his father. What did you see? Did you see that he was blubbering, which is okay. Nothing wrong with being emotional. That's your father. Did you see that? It was a little weird. The daughter was like this. Yeah. Yeah, the daughter was like this. Yeah, he was crying like, I can't believe this schlub of a father actually. It was, again, we're all different. We're all different. But there was something weird about that. And the daughter, who heard for the millionth time, I know the IVF, we named her Hope. I got it. Hope, because and it wasn't IVF, it was IUI. But the same story, and he doubles down on it. Command Sergeant Major. Jesus Christ, this guy doesn't. But there's something, and there's also something about Timmy. And you know what I think about Timmy? You know what I really think? I think you know what I think. And I'm not going to say it. But as Bob Grant would say, but I can think it. Watch Timmy. Ask yourself, just look. Couple things. If you can do this, do me a favor. On YouTube, somehow see if you can picture of Stephen Colbert dancing. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I want to say. That's all. And then let me ask you, what do you think? When you saw Timmy come on and do the jazz hands and the whole bit, I'm just saying. Rumpology. Well, a unique perspective indeed. Do you think anybody is actually buying that? Do you think anybody cares about that? Do you understand this? Do you think that there's anybody's buying this? Do you think that somebody's out there in the world of Democrats saying, I wasn't really sure about this Kamala, but boy, you know what? I heard this story, and I heard he did a video on how to change a light, and he's this guy, and he's a real but he's a hunter. We love our hunters. I mean, you don't like guns? He's a hunter, and do you think, does anybody believe this? This is what's so great about Trump. Trump goes on and says, I'm a businessman. I play golf. I have one suit design. It's got a million of them, by the way. Oh, but I just blue suit, red tie, maybe a different color tie. I don't wear a hat. I'm not going to wear flannel. I'm not going to do Boilermakers like Hillary. It's some iron worker in Scranton. I don't bowl. Remember Obama bowling? Oh dear God. Throwing a ball, remember when he threw? Oh my God. Bush had a hell of a throw. Went right over the plate. It was a perfect curve. It was perfect. It's beautiful. But Trump says, I don't do that. I don't do that. I don't drink. This is who I am. I'm just me. And I'm not going to pretend I'm something that I'm not. I'm not a sportsman. I don't ride a horse. I'm not Reagan. I'm not going to chop wood. I don't do any of that stuff. So don't expect me to do that stuff. I don't do it. And there's something about it that is real. As we always say, keeping it real. This is me. Then you've got this phony baloney. And then you've got the phoniest of them all, Kamala, who all she had to come out is just be herself. If somebody's half black, fine. Or whatever it is. That's it. Don't break into this. There's nothing that infuriates people more than that all of a sudden So anyway, so we'll see. So first of all, remember, tonight, don't watch anything. Number two, tomorrow it's going to be this, and believe me, if you don't do what, if you don't listen to what I'm saying, and you decide to watch tonight, you're going to get sick to your stomach. You're going to get sick, so don't do it. Don't waste your time. She's going to come out, they're going to drop the balloons, and she's going to say, mierda, que mierda. Que mala, que mierda. Just nothing. Absolute platitudes, vapidity, joy, forward, no policy. See what she's doing? She is going to hit you with taxes. What was it? $5 trillion. She has no, and the thing is, she can't say what she's going to do because they haven't given her the orders yet. She's going to follow whatever orders they tell her. It's going to be horrible. And they're going to sit there and they're going to swoon, and you're going to hear about the numbers are great. watch Real Clear Politics, and then they're going to say, okay, now she still has never been, she's never spoken to anybody. Now, people like Jake Tapper and others are going to say, excuse me, now you had, granted, you didn't have a lot of time. You went ahead and you did this. Now we're going to have to ask you some questions. Twinkle Toes Tim. Indeed. I think you're catching on, if you know what I mean. Just saying. I'm just, not that there's anything wrong with it. I'm just saying, right? No big deal. No big whoop, for the coach. Remember Coach Sandusky? Anyway, bad example. So anyway, that's going to be over with. And then you're going to say, okay. And then the weekend's going to just peter all this out and be boring. They will have said there really weren't any big protests, which is very interesting. Or maybe they weren't. We don't know about it. I don't know. I'm very surprised at that. And then Monday is going to be, okay, where do we begin? Where do we pick up? That's going to be fascinating. Because they're going to say, okay. And they're going to say, okay, que mala, ven acá, aquí. You have to talk to us now. Oh, no. We're going to talk now. You have to go. You have to take questions. And meanwhile, where's Joe? Who's running the show now? Who is running the show? Okay, let me give you this. One day you find out that Hezbollah decides to send in a shite load of missiles and rockets into northern Israel, and it hits the fan. I mean, like you can't believe. They unleash a torrent, threatening or bringing in Israel as well. And you've got Egypt and Jordan and others saying, I don't know. And then they turn around and Bibi says, listen, I need more. I need more weapons. I need to finish off the job. Like I got to finish him off. But they're not Hamas. Doesn't matter. I got to finish them off. Got to do the right thing. We have the right to defend ourselves. Well, yeah, you do. But so you're going to go after Iran? Yeah. How you going to do that? Oh, we know what to do. And if you think the chance of implementing a tactical nuclear weapon, how they talk about it all the time. You want me to pay for it? Imagine that. Nothing. Remember, today's bombs are not. Today's thermonuclears aren't going to be these big fission. Remember, those are fusion versus fission. You're not going to see all this fallout and all this kind of stuff. So they pick up the phone, and Joe says, "I don't know. I'm out of here. What do I care about? Whatever." No, Mr. President. Mr. Who? President. You don't treat me like that. You treat me like dirt. You told me to leave. You told me to make that little speech and to hit the plane and get the hell out of Dodge. That's what you told me. And now it's Mr. President. But the idea is that they're not even going to be going to him because Austin and Blinken, they're in charge of the war committee. And then you're going to ask Gaimala, what do you think? And old blood and guts Tim, what are you going to do? And Israel's going to ask for $20 billion in addition. More bombs, more 2,000 pounds, because we got to finish Hamas. Excuse me, this isn't Hamas. This is Hezbollah. Well, whatever. This is the same. Then the Houthis kick in. What? The Houthis. Then they're gonna scuttle a ship right there in the Bab al Mandeb or whatever the what is it called? The Gate of Tears or whatever, up the Red Sea into the Suez. Boom. Iran says, screw you. They close the Straits of Hormuz. Now gas goes $20 a gallon. And they're going to say, okay, you want to do this? You want to play with us? Go ahead. What are you going to do? Ask more Americans, and they'll look at you like, what are you talking about? I'm not even done yet. That's over there. What are you going to do? This isn't Hamas. This isn't the West Bank. This isn't East Jerusalem. This isn't Abu Mazen. This isn't any of that stuff. This is those folks. This is Hezbollah. What are you going to do? Tell me. And then one day you have another one too, where let's say Russia decides, you know what we're going to do? We're going to help you guys out. Yeah. I think you might need some of our weapons. Let's say Russia were to get involved in it, supplying weapons. We supply weapons to Israel. Russia supplies weapons to somebody else. What are you going to do about that? Haven't even mentioned Ukraine yet. That thing is just waiting. People have been saying, well, Putin's taking so long. And Putin says, what's my hurry? I'm not going to do anything. What am I going to kill people for? If I wanted to take over and expand the Soviet Union, I would have done this before. What's my hurry? I'm in no hurry. I'm not going to send my men and women into a meat grinder. For what? So far, Ukraine's lost, what, 500,000 plus? Who knows how many? That's still right there. What are they going to do? What's going on here? Come on, Kamala. What about this idea of NATO? Are you in NATO? Are you in with that? Are you on board with NATO? What do you need NATO for? It's for the Soviet Union. There is no Soviet Union. And who was it that said some line about? Who was it that? Was it Biden who said he talked to Kissinger 5 days or so before he died? And Kissinger said, ever since Napoleon, Europe has been looking over its shoulder at Russia. It's like, are you kidding me? This is the most ridiculous. This is nuts. So Putin's saying, and I wanted to work something out with Vlad. Remember that, Vlad? We were going to work something out. But who threw the turd in the punch bowl then? Bojo, Boris Johnson. Remember that one? Of course not. Of course not. Americans don't know what the hell I'm even talking about. They have no earthly idea about anything. None of this stuff. None. And the whole country, the whole world's looking at us like, you've got to be kidding. Remember Giorgia Meloni, the what is she, prime minister, president, whatever? I get him confused, of Italy, the one who was trying to help Biden out of the G7 over here. Remember that she gave the stink eye to Macron. Nobody's taking her for a fool. Even Ciccolina, was it Ciccolina? This was the porn star who was in the Italian parliament or whatever. Nobody took her for a fool. Nobody. There aren't people that you say, these people are idiots. There may be people who are, Václav Havel, he was a poet. Nobody thought he was an idiot. Nobody took, people who were involved in show business. She's a joke. She's a blithering idiot, and all the Democrats are idiots. And you've got to be kidding me. And I would love if all of a sudden one night I could just walk out and they'll clap like this. And people say, excuse me, who's this guy? I don't know. Oh, well, he's a prime time. I say, yeah, hi, thank you. Let me ask you something. Are you people serious? Do you think this dingbat's going to know what the hell to do? She keeps talking about everything in terms of America's ever been, this low, the poverty. Blah, blah, blah. She's been in power, theoretically, since 2020. Are you people stupid or what? Do you honestly believe that? I mean, this is where we are. And I've got friends of mine, I'm saying, look, I love you. And I know you might not like Trump, but you honestly, that's the thing. But my friends, tomorrow, it's over. Tonight's the end of it's over. And it will be in the rearview mirror like the RNC is in the rearview mirror right now. We don't care about it. Nobody cares. It's beyond. And then we get down to brass tacks. September the 10th, Labor Day is going to be when it really picks up. But September the 10th is going to be the biggest debate ever, the biggest night, the biggest moment. That is going to be so critical. And then there's this thing called this weird kind of momentum where things kind of, and all of that's great so long as they have the vote secured. That's all I'm going to say. So long as they have the votes secured and that ballots are protected. That's all that matters. A good friend, Major Michael, says KGB, FSB is shadow government on a global scale. You know, maybe it's me, but do you have any fear of the KGB? Well, not the KGB, but the FSB now? You know, it's so funny when they talk about the FSB, they always talk about the investigator. Well, that's something which was something to look up to. That's a government office that implied or involved all kinds of, but okay, we'll talk about that later. So listen, promise me you won't be watching tonight. Promise me you will not be watching tonight. And more importantly, I want to tell you this one thing too, which is critical. I mentioned this the other day. As soon as we're done, I want you to go to preparewithlionel.com. And I want you to look at what's available. And I want you to take this very, very seriously. This is not a joke. Emergency food. Now, they are selling out. You can always tell how things are going by the sale of generators, water purifiers, matchless. People who are buying stuff in view of hard times, and not just necessarily black helicopters, but weather and supply chain breakdowns and the like. Preparewithlionel.com. Believe me, I'm not going to sell it. You're smart. I don't have to tell you. No, really. Emergency food, it's a good idea. You know that. You're not at all stupid. And that's what these people think you are. And I know you're not. And that's why you're here. Now, another thing too was, thank you for following Mrs. L. Her YouTube channel. She has got some interviews coming up. You cannot believe these. One in particular that will blow your mind. And it's Lynn's Warriors. Lynn's Warriors, go there, sign up, subscribe, and also on X or Twitter, Lynn's, LYNNS _Warriors. All right? And one more thing. Remember here, it's Lionel Nation and Lionel Legal. Make sure you are signed up. So Major Michael, ground control to Major Michael, thank you. Kelly McKinnon, thank you. Crypto Domini ad Maiorum Dei Gloriam. Raul Rodriguez, Nathan A. Dominic Versetto. Thank you so much. Gracie Loves George. Christian Delormes, Vinyl Revival. Edie Crowley, we love you. Soul 76 Can, Kevin, and you. We'll see you tomorrow at 8 a.m. Remember what I'm saying. Please, make the pledge. Do not watch this. Watch some highlights. Find a nice movie. Maybe maybe watch something nice. Maybe watch My Three Sons or something nice. We watched Petticoat Junction the other night. I like to go back and watch the first episode of something. I love that. They had Charles Lane on, that great actor who always played the mean guy. Crypto Domini says, heard Trump announce today the Supreme Court says no illegal voting. Well, no, the Supreme Court said in Arizona, they upheld a partial ban or a partial requirement for that prevented non-citizens from voting in state and local elections. Before the show, in perusing the rules, I said, I read, and you can look it up. Can non-citizens vote? And the answer is no. But I'm thinking, I don't think that's true. No. That's the most important thing. Securing the voting. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about joy. And we're talking about forward and all this other nonsense. All right, dear friends, have a great and a glorious night. Thank you for being with us. Thank you. Remember, if you're not subscribed to Lionel Nation, there's no hope for you. There's none. None. Have a great and a glorious day. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Remember, don't watch this tonight. We'll get some highlights if you have to. But until then, remember, my friend, the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue ya. Da-da.